me on here. I want to thank Adarli. I want to thank Brian and all of the corporate staff for giving me the opportunity to share what's been working with my team and how we've been able to close sales. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump on over to my screen, and I'm going to try to get through as much of this as humanly possible. So I just need you guys to enable me to be able to share, because it says the host has disabled participants to share a screen.
Working on that now.
Yep, no problem.
I'm gonna make you a co-host.
Okay, sounds good.
There you go. That should help.
All righty. Let's see here.
Ladies and gentlemen, while we have Brandon setting up for his PowerPoint, just make sure you have your pens and paper ready. Make sure you have your notebook ready to go. I believe Brandon's training today was the secrets to closing. So without giving too much away, I want to give you guys a little teaser. Make sure you're ready to go. Make sure you're in that mindset to expand. There you go, Brandon. Let's go.
We see it.
All righty, awesome. Let's go ahead and rock and roll. All righty, guys. So welcome to today's training called The Closing Secrets. And what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is the exact strategy that I've taught my entire downline for how to sell high ticket products, and more specifically, how to sell K8s, Anespas, Ukons, all over the internet and over the phone, to be honest with you. If I'm being totally transparent with you guys, our team has not really done a lot of in-person demos. We actually just started doing this locally here about a year ago, but we actually have figured out a strategy for how to be able to sell these units in high volumes over the phone and on the internet. And I want to break down the exact process that we're using. I'm not going to gatekeep anything. I'm actually going to show you guys exactly the process, the mindset, and everything that you need to understand in order to walk away with a tangible blueprint for how to close high ticket sales, and more importantly, how to be able to build your Enagic business, rank up, and achieve all the things that you want to achieve. All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is really the process that I've taught my entire team for being able to, I guess, for lack of better words, close sales with a single conversation. So most of our calls happen in one call. Okay. So they're not follow-ups, they're not emails, they're not, hey, send me some information about the K8, send me some information about the electrolysis, about the microclusters. It is a one call close. Okay. And I'm gonna explain to you guys exactly how this one call close happens and why we actually don't sell. Okay. There's a difference between selling and closing, right? And most people know how to sell, but they don't know how to close. But what we found is that once you learn how to close, you actually don't need to sell, all right? And I'm going to explain the process for how we do this, and then I'm going to give you 12 secrets behind how all this works, okay? Now, every single person that I come into contact with, after they have watched the video about the units, all right, and they decide that they want to book a call because either they want to buy the units directly or they want to do the business, they pretty much go through this process called spin selling, okay? And essentially what this process means, it gives us a framework for a guided call, all right? So this way we never have to feel anxiety. We never have to feel like we're some pushy salesman. We never have to feel uncomfortable about talking about our products, because all we're doing is guiding people through a process, and then they're going to come to a revelation whether or not this unit or this business is for them, okay? And so essentially what spin selling means, it's an acronym, okay? And it stands for situation, problem, implied needs, and needs payoff, okay? And once you understand these four pillars, you can pretty much close any sale, right? Now, obviously, there needs to be a need there, right? That's why it's called implied needs, because we don't want to sell things to people that, don't benefit them, that don't give them any value, okay? And so if there's implied needs here, then we're going to go ahead and we are going to sell these units because the person tells us that there's basically a need for them to actually make a sell, okay? So let's go ahead and walk through this. So on every single call, the first thing we want to do is we want to find out their situation. Okay. What we've realized is that every single human on the planet is motivated by something called a need. Okay. And if we can find out the needs of a human, then we can directly correlate those needs with our product and we can show them how our product can actually be of service to them. And once you find the needs, you no longer need to sell because people are innately looking to I guess you could say essentially meet those needs. All right. And our product, what we do is we just position it in front of people so that it meets their needs. All right. So let's talk about the first phase, which is situation questions. All right. Now, essentially, anytime I jump on a call, the first thing I'm going to ask my potential client is what's going on in your life and business today that made you jump on this call with me. All right. And I want to push it in their court because I want them to tell me about their situation, why they're looking into Enagic, why they're looking into the units, and what their goals and what their timeframes are. Okay. And some of the key things that I teach my team about being able to enroll people with a single conversation or be able to sell a unit in a single conversation is time and goal. Because every human is motivated by a specific time frame that they're trying to achieve something in and a specific goal, right? Because humans are what's called teleology creatures, which means that we are goal driven. And so if we can align our products with the time frames and the goals of our prospects, then enrolling people becomes really, really simple and we don't have to sell. Okay. So in order to ask those situation questions, all I'm going to do is just say, what's going on in your life and business today that made you take the time out of your day to book this call with me? Okay. And then I'm going to let them talk. All right. Now, what ends up happening is as people start to tell me about their situation, naturally their problems start to arise. And they may be, telling me things about their health. They might be telling me things about, the job that they're working at. They might be telling me things about, dreams, aspirations, whatever it is that they're looking to accomplish. They end up start telling me about, what's in the way of them reaching these specific things. Okay. Then the next step becomes implied needs. So as they're telling me about their problems, they start to tell me what they need to solve their problems. Okay. And so this is why we don't have to sell because humans want to solve their problems and they want to meet their needs. So as those needs start to arise, the next thing I want to do is I want to dig deeper and I want to find out about their implications. So this is the most important part of spin selling is implications. In other words, what I want to find out is why those needs need to be met and what happens if those needs are not met. Okay. Now, let me just back up for a second here. Spin selling was created by a guy named Neil Rackham who did a case study. He spent over $1 million basically doing a case study on salespeople. And what he realized is that low ticket sales and high ticket sales require a different process. Okay. And so essentially what the most important part of spin selling is finding what are called implications. Okay. Implications are not problems. Implications are what happens to the problem if it's not fixed. Okay. And what I've found from my own personal experience is that if I can dig deep enough into the implications of a person's problem, then at that point, they see the value of making a change. Okay. Now, as we all know, most people, when we talk to them about our products, they're going to be focused on price if they're not focused on problems. Okay. I want you to realize that. And so what we do is we take them off of the price and we put them on the focus of their problems and the implications, right? Because that's essentially why they're talking to you anyway, is because something triggered in their life that caused a problem that created a need, and that implication underneath that need is what actually is motivating them to buy. Okay. And so from there, once you figure out the actual implications, then we just go to needs payoffs. Okay. And needs payoff questions is where I basically show them how Enagic can actually help them relieve the pain, how it can help them relieve the implications that they just told me, and how this business model and this amazing product can actually solve their problems. And so from there, I simply ask them, where would they like to go from here? Okay. I don't try to convince them. I don't try to sell them. I don't try to persuade them in buying something. They have to tell me that they see the vision. They see how this can actually solve their problems. And then from there, that's when I go into the next step, which is showing them the packages. Okay. And so if you master these 4 steps right here, you literally have a framework for getting on a call with a person where you don't feel anxiety, you don't feel like you're not qualified, you're not afraid to actually get on the call because you're not trying to sell anything. What you're trying to do is basically show them a pathway to help them solve a problem that they already know they have. And so the call really becomes about uncovering these needs and uncovering these implications, and then essentially merging them with Enagic as a product. Okay, so that's kind of the big picture of how we are able to essentially sell these units on a single conversation without being salesy, without feeling uncomfortable, and be able to create a high volume of sales. Because at the end of the day, people aren't necessarily buying our product, they're buying a solution to their problems. They're buying a solution to their needs, right? And another way to think about this, if you wanted to drill a hole in the wall, right? You're not going to buy a drill, okay? You are going to buy a tool to put a hole in the wall. You don't care if it's a drill, if it's a hammer, if it's a jackknife, whatever it is. You just need to know what would be the best solution to put the hole in the wall. And that's essentially kind of how we think about spin selling, is we just want to basically show people a way to get what they want, and then show them how our product can be a conduit in order to help them get what they want. And of course, because our technology and our product is so amazing, they end up really, really benefiting from our product, from the company, and all of the great things that Enagic has kind of put together for us. Okay, so that's kind of like the big picture of how we run these calls. Now, underneath these calls, there are some secrets that if you don't understand, none of this will work. Okay, none of this will work. And I'm going to fly through these secrets really quickly because this is the most important part of the entire process. All right, I want you to think about, the spin selling is like the body of a Ferrari, but these secrets are like the engine, right? So without these secrets, nothing works because you're going to fumble somewhere along the process. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these secrets. So secret number 1 is detachment. Okay, one of the things that I teach my team is we are not attached to making sales. In fact, we are detached completely from the outcome. When we get on a call, our call is not about making money. It's not about making sales. It's about uncovering what I call the cost equation, which I'll talk to you guys more about that here in just a second. But if you want to become really good at this business, you need to detach from this. Okay, you need to detach from the outcome and understand that you are doing a service. All right, you've signed up to do a service and to help people with their problems and to help them get the things that they want. All right, I think it was Jim Rohn said that if you help enough people get what they want, you can have everything that you want. So by you being attached to the sale isn't going to get you more sales, right? You must detach and put yourself in the shoes of the other person and really start to see things through their eyes and really begin to listen to the things that they're telling you. So that way you can really hear these needs and really hear these implications that we just talked about. Okay. Number 2 is pre-qualification. Okay. This is crucial. All right. Now, I would probably say about 99% of our customer base right now does use finance options, right? Like they don't just have the money just sitting in the bank and just kind of hanging around like, extra money to buy these products, right? And if you think about any type of business from solar to, all kind of different things, most people end up financing these options. And so what we want to do so that we don't waste our time, so that we don't waste the prospect's time, is we want to make sure that they're pre-qualified. Okay, we want to make sure that they're able to make a buying decision on that call. Because if they're not pre-qualified, then what happens is you get on a call with somebody and then they're like, I got to speak to my spouse. I got to check my credit. I got to check my bank account. I gotta do more research on the company, right? So we want to solve all of these initial things up front. Okay. And to be totally honest with you guys, there's only really 3 questions that we ask our people to see if they're pre-qualified. Question number 1 is we want to make sure that there's a motivation to make a change. Okay. Question number 2, we want to know a little bit about their job to see kind of what they, see where they work at and to see how much money they make, to see if they can even afford to buy this product. And then question number 3 is we want to know if there's a spouse needed in order to make a buying decision. Okay. If we have those 3 questions answered, then essentially from there, we know that we have a very, very good chance of being able to serve this person because one, they've already watched the video about the units, and 2, we know that they're qualified to buy. Okay. And that they can make a decision making that they can make a choice to purchase on the actual call. Okay. So step number 2 is you want to be sharp as a tack. Okay. So a lot of closing is not about product knowledge. Okay. It's about your enthusiasm, and it's about your willingness to get excited about somebody else's life changing. Okay. But it is also about being professional, right? And not, having to say, and kind of thinking about it and not being present. It's about really being focused on serving the other person. So that way they feel that there's a transfer of belief and confidence from you to them, where they feel like, okay, this is a person that I can actually trust to, 1, guide me through this business, and 2, I believe in what they're talking about. Okay. Some salespeople just get on and all they're worried about is money, 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 money. Okay. And money is a byproduct of doing these things that I'm actually showing you. Okay. So there's really no reason to focus on money. All right. We always want to address our attention and focus on the individual and serving them to the highest level possible. And then as a byproduct for our work and our efforts and our service, that is how we are going to make money. Okay. So you want to be enthusiastic. You want to be sharp. You do want to know your product knowledge. You do want to know your process and your systems. But at the end of the day, you're a Sherpa. Okay. And if you don't know what a Sherpa is, every year people climb Mount Everest, and a Sherpa is the person that takes them up the mountain. Okay. And the person that takes them up the mountain, people need to trust that person to take them up that mountain so that they don't die. Okay. And so when people come to us, we know that this is not just a transaction. We are now their Sherpas. And starting a new business like Enagic sometimes can be scary for people, right? But if we can position ourselves as a trusted advisor, as a Sherpa to take them up the mountain of their success, then you will find that people will be really, really open to this business, and it'll make your life a lot easier. All right. Secret number 3 is time and goal. Okay. This is crucial. So most of the time when people are doing presentations or they're doing calls, they get a lot of objections, right? Like, I need to talk to my spouse. I need to think about it. I'm not sure if I can do this. What if it doesn't work for me? So on and so forth. Okay. But here's the reality. If you set a time frame and a goal on the call, you eliminate about 90% of objections. Okay. Because let's say a person says, I want to do this business because, I want to, I've been thinking about starting a business online, and I'm coming into retirement, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to survive off of what I'm currently making. So I want to start a business online. Right. And let's say they're going to retire in like 12 months. Right. Well, if they tell you they got to think about it, right, then you're able to go back to them and say, well, Mr. Prospect, you said that you wanted to retire in 12 months and that your goal was to be able to build a business online. So how are you going to do that if you have to think about it and you're going to come back in 3 months, right? So it's about tying down specific goals that are measurable, tangible, real world goals that they can feel, touch, taste, and smell, as well as a time frame for those goals. So that way, when they give you an objection, you can always go back to the time and goal and remind them of their why. Remind them of why they booked the call. Remind them of why they're here, and keep them focused on what's important and what's not important. Okay. This is so crucial when it comes to actually, moving a sale forward and being able to gently remind people, of, where they're going versus where they're currently at, which is where most people's mindsets are when they're trying to make a buying decision. All right. Secret number 4 is focus on the implications. Okay. So we talked about implications earlier. But again, an implication is what happens to the problem if it's not solved. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a toothache, right? And your toothache, basically, it's hurting you, but you can still work. You can still, hang out with your friends. You can still live your quality of life, right? That's not necessarily maybe going to make you go to the dentist right away, right? But what happens if that tooth goes untreated for, let's say, 6 months, and now all of a sudden the root is exposed, and now every time the air hits your tooth, it literally makes your jaw swollen. Like it hurts so bad that now you can't work, now you can't eat, now you can't, your quality of life is actually affected. Okay. At that point, what typically happens with people, they call any dentist that they can find within a 5-mile radius. They don't ask questions. Okay. Basically, what they do is they go straight to the dentist and they essentially say, fix my problem. Okay. I don't care what it costs. I don't care who you are. I don't want to see your credentials. I want my problem fixed. Okay. That's an example of an implication. It's when the problem has basically created another problem that is now causing pain. Okay. Now, what I want you guys to understand is that every single person in their life has this. Every person that you talk to right now, they have implications that have triggered them to actually get on a call with you or to get into a presentation with you that they want to solve. And our job is to find out what those implications are and then show them how our business model can actually help them relieve that pain. Okay, so that's why implications are super, super crucial. And I would say that 99.99% of people don't understand this, right? They think that they need to sell problems and solutions. Okay. But again, as Neil Rackham says in spin selling, problems and solutions are not going to work with high ticket sales. It's got to be based on implications. All right. So secret number 6 is asking why questions, right? Now, most of my new people that come into my business, they're so used to asking what questions, right? But why is motivation? And why is motivation? And why will give you a totally different answer than a what, right? So if I ask a person, so why are you looking into a new business? That's going to give me one response. If I say, well, what is making you, look for a business? That's going to give me a different response. So what we found is that why is motivation, and motivation is emotional. Okay. And humans are emotional, motivated people. And so if you can find out the why, okay, we've all heard that saying, what's your why? That's because that's your motivation. Well, inside of a sales call, you can do the same thing. You can find out their motivation, and that is going to motivate them to take action. So why questions are extremely important. And, this takes people a while to stop asking what and to start asking why. So I encourage you guys to do the same thing too. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about establishing the cost equation. So after, spending over 10,000 hours in sales, what I realized is that the buying decision is really based on one thing, and that's a cost equation, right? So what a prospect is literally doing without telling you is they're essentially making a decision on the cost of staying where they are or the cost of moving forward with you. Okay. So they're saying, you know what? It's going to cost me more to stay where I'm at. So I'm going to go ahead and join your business and buy your product. Or they're going to say, you know what? I don't believe you. And I think that it's going to cost me more if I go with you because I don't trust you. And I don't think that you could Sherpa me up this mountain. So every single call, what we're actually doing is just establishing a cost equation, right? Because a person can't look at the cost of their product and the cost of their situation at the same time, right? So if we keep them focused on the cost equation, which is essentially what that means is the cost of staying in inaction, right? So when you realize that, okay, there's a cost to the K8, but there's also a cost to you not getting the K8, to you not getting a part of this wonderful business, this patented compensation plan, there's a cost to that as well too. And what we want to do is we want to help them explore the cost of inaction, the cost of staying where they are, and we want to link it to time and goal, okay? And once a person can see that, it's like a light bulb goes off in their head. And they're like, you know what? It is costing me more to keep this money in my bank account and to go through all this suffering that I'm going through than it would be if I buy this machine, get into this business, and I actually learn how to do it properly. Okay. So that's the cost equation that every single human goes through to make a decision. It's, should I stay where I'm at, or should I spend the money to open up a whole new world of possibilities? Okay. And this is one of the biggest secrets that I understand about closing. Okay. Secret number 8 is connect the solution to the why. Okay. So what a lot of people do is they sell the features and benefits of the machine, right? So they'll talk about the microclusters, they'll talk about the electrolysis, they'll talk about, the titanium plates, they'll talk about the oxidation reduction potential, they'll talk about, all of the good things, right? And believe me, I know this because I've studied this stuff inside and out. But at the end of the day, that type of jargon, to most people, they don't understand it. Okay. They, like when I first heard about this, I grew up drinking out of a water hose. Okay. I didn't know about alkaline water. I didn't know about beauty water. I didn't know there was pH the same as the skin. I didn't know these things. Okay. And so what I did know is that I wanted a way to better my family. Okay. And that's the language that I wanted to hear. Okay. Now, again, this doesn't mean you make promises. In fact, only amateurs make promises, because we all know that there's only 2 things in life that are guaranteed: death and taxes, right? So you can't guarantee anybody will ever make money. In fact, that's against the law, right? But what we're doing is we want to create a vision for the person so that they have possibilities. Okay. No different than if somebody went to, Harvard University. Harvard doesn't guarantee you're going to get out and you're going to be able to get a good job. Okay. But it gives you possibilities. Okay. So when we connect the solution to the why, essentially what we're doing is we're figuring out why they're on the call, why they're looking to make a change, what are the implications, and then we're basically showing them the features and the benefits of the business and the product. And then we're connecting the two to show them why they should get started today. Okay. This is so powerful when you do this properly. And it just makes the call really, really seamless. And in fact, people often either cry on my calls or they thank me, because they're like, you know what? For the first time in my life, someone actually listened to me. So I actually felt understood, and I actually felt like I have a different path than the direction that I've been going. Okay. So that's how we connect the solution to the why. Okay. Next thing is price conditioning. All right. Now, price conditioning, essentially what this means is that, if you were to just tell somebody like, this costs $5,000, right? Because people don't spend $5,000 on a regular basis, like on an everyday basis. Like, even if you have a lot of money, you don't just spend $5,000 every day. That creates what's called a sticker shock. Okay. And right off the bat, people start going into their head, their limiting mindsets, their limiting belief systems. So what I like to do is price condition and weave this into my presentation, right? So one of the ways that I price condition is I actually show people how much money is circulating in the world right now. Okay. I think it's around $40 trillion are in circulation. So when you start to think about, wait a minute, there's $40 trillion in circulation that nobody's monopolizing, and you compare that to like a $5,000 machine, it starts to look kind of silly, right? Because you're like, why would I be worried about $5,000 when there's $40 trillion in circulation? Okay. Another way I price condition is I talk about the cost of buying water over 10 to 15 years. Okay. I talk about the actual global market, like how much the ionizer market is making and how much is projected to make, right? I believe by 2030, the water ionizer market is projected to be a $5.7 billion industry. Okay. So I really show them, big numbers, so that way they can see that the 5,000 we're talking about, that's not really that big of a deal. Okay. Another way I price condition is I will show them the price of a franchise. Okay. Now, obviously, I tell them Enagic is not a franchise, it's an original parts manufacturer, but I show them the similarities and how to open up a McDonald's, you need about $2 million. Okay. Just to open up a McDonald's and flip some burgers, right? So when they start to see how real businesses work and the price conditioning, then it kind of conditions them to say, you know what, maybe this isn't that bad. Okay. Maybe my health is worth this. Right. And so this is how you avoid the kickback of the price, is by is by juxtaposing, comparing and contrasting what the price of one thing is, what the price of another thing. Okay. And then people tend to settle into that. And then they, they're like, wow, this makes sense. This is amazing. All right. Secret number 2 is master objection handling. Now, I've done probably 10,000 calls, like no joke. Okay. And what I've found is that there are only about 7 or 8 objections that a human could have around this business. Okay. Now, because I look at myself like I train in this business like I'm an athlete, right? So part of handling objections, that's part of my goal, that's part of my duty, right? I can't be a professional if I don't know how to help people get over themselves, right? And so there are objections that if you master, like, I need to talk to my spouse. What if I can't do it? It's too much money. Um, you know, all the different things. I failed at businesses before, right? So many different things, right? But there's really only 8 of these things that you need to master. And what happens is once you handle these objections properly, then you actually get excited when a person gives you an objection. See, most people, when they get objections, they think that the sale is over. But if you think about the psychology of an objection, right? If somebody says, well, I need to talk to my spouse, or they say, this is too expensive. You got to think about it from this perspective. They actually are thinking about the business. They're actually thinking about doing it. Because why would you say this is too expensive, or I need to talk to my spouse, or what if I can't do it, if you weren't thinking about actually moving forward? Okay. So I actually get really, really excited about people giving me objections because I understand that you're now thinking about the last phase, which is you purchasing, right? And so I always tell people, you're not good or bad at handling objections. You're either trained or untrained. And once you become trained, you can do this in your sleep. Okay. I can handle objections in my sleep. It doesn't matter what's going on. I pretty much know how to handle every single objection and get people to the other side. Because again, I'm not focused on the money. I'm focused on how I can help them get what they want, how I can help them benefit from this, right? So it's my duty to understand how to handle objections. And I recommend that you guys really master the objection handling process. Okay. Number 11 is time plus bonus. Okay. And I'm just going to take a quick drink of water. Okay. So what this means is that I have an internet marketing background, and I've studied underneath the tutelage of some of the top online marketers in the world. And I've been a part of this process called building offers, right? Like creating an irresistible offer. And what we found over the last 10 years is that most people, when a product is launched, they typically buy for the bonuses, right? They don't actually buy because of the product. The bonuses actually push them over. So what I did, and my team and I did, is we actually created a bonus for the person if they take action on the call. Okay. And this is a training suite that we put together that has about 79 videos that could easily be valued at $5,000 that we give 100% free to everybody on our team. Okay. And so what we basically do is we explain to them that, listen, if you get started today, you're going to get this marketing and sales university 100% free. And it's going to teach you the ins and outs of everything you need to know to launch a business from home. Okay. That's an example of a bonus, right? It is a way to motivate a procrastinating human into action by giving them an incentive, right? Because what psychology has showed us is that humans are very predictable, right? They either move off the carrot or the stick. Okay. If you know what I mean, the carrot or the stick. And so a bonus is an example of a carrot. Okay. And so typically what we do is we will also sometimes put a time frame on it, or we'll give them some additional bonus materials to help them, basically take action. Okay. And then our last secret is sign up prospect on the phone. Okay. So what most people do is when they get to the end of the sale, they get very anxiety ridden about having to ask for money, about having to talk about enrolling, because now money needs to change hands. And if you have any type of money mindset issues, you know, like maybe you grew up, your parents told you money doesn't grow on trees, or all wealthy people, you know, are bad people, and you know, you should just have enough, and all these kind of weird things, then you're going to have an issue asking people to basically cut a check for 5 grand. Okay. And so, number one, you got to work through that. Okay. Number two is you want to walk your person through the sign up process. Don't just send them the paperwork. Don't just send them out some, you know, hey, get back to me tomorrow. Hey, check in with me later when you get home. No, set up a time to walk them through the paperwork. Okay. We have found our conversion rates have skyrocketed just from walking people through the paperwork, right? Not basically going through all of the things and then saying, get back to us tomorrow. Okay. So if you take anything away from this training, walk people through the paperwork and you will see your conversion rates go through the roof. All right. So I want to be respectful of your time. I'm going to pass it back to the corporate staff. But again, my name is Brandon Brown. I hope you guys got some value from this, and I can stick around and answer any questions if you guys need me to.
Thank you so much, Brandon. We appreciate you doing the training today. I think there were a lot of hot tips and tricks within your training. Thank you again for sharing. I do want to give Daniel DeMacaulay a few minutes to speak on this call. He can go ahead and give a closing statement as well. And then maybe if there's leftover time, Brandon can do some questions at the end for wrap up. So Daniel, if you're with us, please go ahead and unmute yourself and go ahead.
I'm there. I unmuted.
We can hear you.
Okay, here I am. By the way, thanks, Jonah and Sarah, for your meeting. It's been very successful. And also, Brandon, thank you very much for sharing us what you do to produce, okay? This Enagic monthly connections for everybody, it's growing. It's been very, very successful. And it's helping distributors. Just so you know, I believe there are over 3,000 people registered at the last meeting. I think it was 3,200 registered for the conference call. So, you know, make sure that what I want to let everybody know is make sure that you and your team are connected to these calls. Okay, don't miss out on it. The next one is April 1st, okay? April 1, Monday. Write it down. Don't be looking at me. Write it down. April 1st, okay? So, and what I want to remind everybody is let's close out the quarter really strong, like Sarah said, okay? I just want to give you a couple of things, okay? Everybody, let's go get a sale. Let me tell you what, okay? A sale fixes everything. It catches you up. You're closing out your first quarter. Have you ever watched basketball or football? You need to close out strong. It doesn't only catch you up, it catapults you into the next quarter. So go get a sale. Figure out how to get a sale. Enagic, by the way, I know Okinawa is already all jam-packed you can't get a ticket to it. It's out. All right. But I just want to let you a little secret. They're working on something to bring all this stuff to you. So, you know, trust the company, everybody. Okay. So again, now a couple of things. You need to concentrate on sales and rank advancement and helping your team. Here's an event on March 13th, Wednesday, at the corporate office. It's been packed over there. I'm telling you, whoever you bring there will sign up. I can't make it any clearer than that. If you bring somebody there, they're going to sign up, okay? So bring somebody there, make sure that your team brings somebody there. You know, I want to close this out by just letting you guys know a couple of things. Number one, I was talking to one of my friends, and I want to share something with you guys. He's a young guy. His net worth is about $150 million here in Newport Beach. Okay, it's crazy, right? And he told me this, and I want to share this with you because I'm getting this from 3 people who I respect tremendously. All right. Number one, he said, the most important investment you can make is in yourself. Now, isn't that true? Okay. He said, you don't need a $10,000 for a real estate course. A $5 book can change your life, you know? So, and you guys know what I mean, okay? It's very important to work on yourself. He said, number two, never stop networking. Hang around entrepreneurs. Hang around where money is. Never stop networking, okay? And then three, he said, always look for a mentor. That's why we're bringing up some of these people on training so you can see what they do, so maybe you can copy it. And then he said, last, he said, time will be your most valuable asset, not cars. You only like cars because you don't have it, okay? And I understand that because I have it, and I have nothing to do with getting another car. Why? I have it. I don't have any, it's not about watches, it's not about suits, okay? In the end, time will become your most valuable asset. So make sure you take advantage of it, because there's a lot of things you can do out there. I was just looking at our calendar. I mean, if your next 3 years can be completely different from your last three, think about this. What's happening that's coming up in, FIFA World Cup is coming up here. Do you have a ticket? I mean, Super Bowl 2027 is at SoFi Stadium in LA. Okay. The Olympics are here in 2028. There's so many, just this April, there's NBA playoffs, the Masters are going on, baseball. There's so many things, but you need to have money to be able to go to these things. And to do that, you have the best vehicle in town to create the funds you need, okay? So like Sarah said, go get a sale, okay? This month, March is March Madness, all right? You need to get a sale. Don't go into April without, hey, figure it out. Figure out how to get a sale, go find somebody, and if you can't find one, you need to talk to grandma, or you need to talk to Uncle Bob or Bill or somebody that'll buy one just to help you out, and tell them, I need to catapult into the next month. So I need a sale, okay? A sale fixes everything. That's the message I have for everybody here. Sarah, thanks for having me on, and I'll see all of you on the next event right there, or on the next Zoom call, okay? Sarah, great event. You guys are cranking, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you,
Jonah,
Dan.
have a good one.
Thank you.
I think we can leave the call open maybe for five minutes or so for Brandon, if there's any last minute questions or anything you guys wanted him to maybe touch base on from his training. If someone would like to go ahead and unmute themselves, maybe Miss Rhonda, if you could go ahead and unmute yourself, and then you can ask Brandon the question related to his training. Okay, Miss Rhonda, we'll come back to you. How about John Johnson? John Johnson, if you want to ask your question for Brandon, go right ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Hey there, Brandon. I was just curious if you offer any other, are we able to connect with you outside of this format, or is there anything, if you're not on your team,